connection was a bit of fun, the two of you here.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, at one stage the season before we left, there was 5 of us. There was myself, Richie, Hunt, Noel obviously, and Thomas Butler and Stephen Bradley, who came in for a wee while as well. And I mean, it was great. I mean, like I said to you when I first come over, to have Hunty come over so soon after that, and then for him to have us here when he came over, it was great. You know, you couldn't have asked for a better group of lads. Like it was like the crack we had. Like it was. You know, you're doing something that you love, and you're getting paid for it. You're playing in the SPL against top teams. You know, you're getting chauffeured off here, there, and everywhere on the bus. Everything's looked after. You know, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Now it was great crack. Great crack.
So what did you get up to?
I like the way you're looking at me when you ask that question. Do you know what? We didn't get up to too much. We didn't get up to too much outside of the club. We didn't do too much. I have to say we were very well behaved. I think I just had a young kid, so I was housebound a lot of the time. But I think a lot of stuff that went on in here there was a bit of messing. You know, there was a bit of messing most days. Nothing too bad. Do you know what though? I do remember Gary taking me out onto the pitch, and we used to set little boxes up, and he'd say, right, you have to clip the ball 40 yards into my box, and just do it, and just keep doing it. So a few days a week we'd be out there and we'd be practicing, you know, and we used to do free kicks. I was playing left back, he had me practice free kicks, he'd be doing his free kicks, you know. So we were up in the gym, we were doing bits, we were always doing extra work. I will say that, you know, as much as all the joking and messing that went on, I always wanted to be better, and Gary was great for helping me practice the stuff that I wasn't as good at, you know, because you know, you need people that will push you the right way, and the weaknesses that you have, you need them to be strengthened. And it was great to have guys like that'd be around, not only to have the bit of laugh with and make you feel more comfortable in training, but to then say, right, listen, let's go, we'll go out and do a half an hour out here. So a lot of that type of stuff went on, but there was a lot of messing and carry on.
So who was the worst one in the dressing room?
Well, it wasn't us two. It was Hunty.
I think in fairness, I think, do you know what?
I always ran on
the two of them, Jimmy C and Jimmy Nick loved the fact what we brought to the dressing room, and I think that's why I think the two of them would tell you, if they had left Aberdeen and went to Liverpool, they would have took us with them, just purely because of the effect we have. And I have to say, the rest of the squad loved it as well, and they bought into it, and they'd be slagging like the crack we used to have, like with Nipper and Scott Wilson and Shields, you know, they all bought into that. And when things were good here, the vibe and the banter in the dressing room was brilliant, you know. We didn't have any egos, we didn't have anyone that was above their station or thought they were better than anybody or anything like that. We all come in, and like you said, when it came to training, it was serious, you know. Yes, there was parts of training that the two Jimmys used to have that was fun and games, and that's where you can have your bit of crack. But when it got down to the serious stuff, I mean, there was no messing from anybody. But any chance we did get, we were always acting a maggot. Like we'd always go up with something, like whether it's cutting people's socks up or putting deep heat into their underpants or something. You know, we were always up to something. And that, believe it or not, goes on in every dressing room around the country. It just happened to be that we were together most of the time. You know, and we were all at it, and we used to do it to each other as well, not to other people, you know. And but it was great. It was all part of the fun, you know what I mean? Like you have to enjoy it, like, you know.
You need that. I think a lot of clubs don't have that now. The kids are all on their phones. They're not interacting with each other. And when it comes out, you need that in the dressing room to happen. For when you go out there, when times get tough, or you come up against, well, back then, Hearts, who were all 6'2", you know, when you come up against a side like that, you have to be able to work for each other, and you have to have gone through things together. That when you're out there in front of 30,000 people or whatever, you stick together. You know, you're a team. You've been through a lot, you know, and you fight for each other. And I think that's the type of atmosphere that the two Jimmys realised that they needed to get people to knit together. And you know, with a good mix of youth and age and experience, talent, enthusiasm, aggression as well. We actually had a bit of everything, and that's what made us a successful team.
Yeah, because Jimmy C always said that it was good for the bonding of the team, for them for you to go away pre-season. I always loved going to Holland, and he said that it, built the atmosphere with the team.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Brought them all close together.
Absolutely. Like when we went to Holland, it wasn't a holiday camp.
No.
It was far from it. We were in we were in camp, and it was double sessions. If you weren't training, you were resting. If you weren't resting, you were maybe having a wee swim or something like And yes, of course, like every single club in the world, at the end of pre-season, then you have your little night out and you have your little blowout, and then you get ready for the start of the season. But yeah, no, like the two of them were like, they had a huge influence on my career. Obviously, the guys that coached me when I was in England at Everton obviously set me up to be the player that I was. But I mean, I don't think I would have had the career I had without them too. They were a huge influence on my career. And I'm sure you would be the same, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I actually bring a lot of their stuff into the sessions that I do now.
Yeah.
So the coaching sessions I do now, I bring it in, and I actually, when I was evaluating my sessions there the other day, and I realised I'm actually turning into Jimmy Nicholl. I'm turning into Jimmy Nicholl with the way I'm talking to the guys on the side of the pitch, and you do things in the session and he'd say something like, "Oh, that's brilliant, son," and you go, "Oh, that was great, I impressed him," and you find people starting to do things because they want you to say, "That was great," and even the little passing drills that we do, their enthusiasm, how they spoke to you. Now, I know Gary sort of alluded to it, but when things got serious with them, it got very serious. Now in training, it was great, it was high tempo, but it was also every man for himself in a sense, that when you trained, this was you, and if you didn't train well, you're not in the team. So you had to be on it with all them, and you couldn't be nice to any of them. So there was nobody nice to each other in the sessions. When it came to the games or things that were organisation, you were on it, and you knew if he gets injured, I'm in. So now I'm not saying you're trying to do him in attack or anything, but your level was always high.
There was huge demands put on us in training to have that quality and that standard from everybody. And like you said, if you weren't in the team, there was I don't think there was ever any begrudgery or anything like that. It was like, grand, I'm not in the team. Well, if something happens, I'm ready, because and that's that again. I think that's why we were so successful, because if someone wasn't having a good game or having a bad time, say I was on the bench, I knew I had a good week's training under my belt, I'm ready to go, I'm fit and strong, and you come into the team and you just slot in and you might add something different. But he's right, the demands that they put on you when we were training was the way it should be. It's not like I'm managing now as is he, and we're dealing with a totally different generation of people now, where like Jimmy C would probably be locked up for some of the stuff he said to us if he said it to a team nowadays. It's a true story, like genuinely, and but yeah, so no, the definitely the experience that we had with them definitely stood both of us. I think all of us, Hunty would probably say the same, in good stead for going into the coaching stuff and all as well. And as I said earlier on, I think Jimmy C's time in Holland was huge in that, And you look at Jimmy, we were only talking about today, he's gone back into Rangers, and there's no coincidence in the upturn in their form since he's gone in there. There's no coincidence, he's gone in there now, and he's put his little stamp on it, and everybody is definitely a little more chirpier, I would say, in training, and a little bit more relaxed, I would say, and that's the influence that they have on you.
But even the little things in training in the dressing room, Jimmy Nicholl does, he'd have a little game just so. In Aberdeen we had a little bench where you'd sit, around the dressing room. It was the old wooden style bench, and he'd get the ball and he'd say, "Right, how many times can you throw it up, spin it, and hit a half volley off the edge of the bench? It has to come back, and everyone it's a half volley off the bench. How many can you do in a row?" And now you think, what? How would you even think of that game? And then he'd do another and say, "Right, what you have to do is throw the ball in the air, and half volley has to bounce and then end up in the big bin over there." So even these little games, you always had you sort of thinking, and then he'd say, "Right, come on down and have a game of table tennis with you." He was 100 miles an hour. He was always thinking of the next thing. What can I challenge? What can you do? So that enthusiasm, just he had it for everything. So when it came to football, you just had that enthusiasm to go out and train and play well for them. But the clubs that they were at benefit from it, the players benefit from it, and you know, you just hope that Dunfermline can get something like that back here. You know, now the lads are doing very well, you know, although Sandy was a part of that as well, you know, so Sandy knows what that's all about. And Sandy was great actually for me, you know. Sandy had some great chats to me here. I remember he pulled me aside here and he said, listen, one of my first games was for the reserves against Kilmarnock. I don't know if you remember that. I was playing against a fella called DiGiacomo, and he played for the first team, and the first half he gave me a rinsing, right? I couldn't get near him, and at half time Sandy said, Richie, come here. He said, don't be afraid of this fella. Go up against him and just, as soon as he gets the ball, just get stuck into him every time. He said, I don't care what he does. He said, just every time he gets the ball, just be on him. So I did it, and he didn't want the ball, and I played great. And then at the end of the game, he said, listen, that's how you do it. And I thought, yes, that was great. You know, that was brilliant. And every time I had a little dip, Sandy said to me, listen, you're coming over from part-time football, you're going into full-time football, it's a big step up. He said, you're going to hit a bit of a dip after a couple of months. He said, but you'll come back up. You know, and sure enough, I did. And he was great. He had a couple of chats with me up the road as well in Aberdeen. You know, and it was great to have him, who obviously he's part of the coaching staff, but it's not Jimmy Nick or Jimmy Calderwood. And he'd give you a little talk, just pull you to the side and say, listen, this is what you need to do a bit more of that, don't do a bit of this, and we'll sort it out. And do you know what, he was great. Even with my young lad, he got his missus to bring my young lad up from Dunfermline up to Aberdeen, you know. And these are things that these guys do for you that you can never repay them back, and it's invaluable. And for your coach to do things like that for you, it's not one of the lads, you know, it's the coach doing that, going out of the way. So they're great guys, and I think they shaped us. And in terms of my coaching with the lads I do, I'm sure you were saying, you teach them things in football that will help them in their life outside of football or after football. And that is what you're trying to do with your coaching. You're trying to coach people. You know, they can all play football, everyone can play, you know, but how do you coach them as people to get the best out of themselves, and also they can pass on that knowledge then as they get older.
Well, it's been lovely seeing both of you again. So don't, Gary, leave it so long to come back and see us again. Finally, what are your thoughts about, what thoughts do you have about Dunfermline Athletic, about your time here? Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, loved it. Loved it. Listen, don't let the way I left fool you. I loved it. You know, and look, we follow managers all the time, and there was no one big man row or anything. It was just I didn't enjoy it, and like I said when I was speaking to the guys there at the dinner, when you're a professional footballer, like all I ever wanted to be when I was younger, and when you're getting paid for it, you're getting paid good money, and when you're not enjoying that, there's something seriously wrong. And you know, I went home and I said, right, what is the issue here? What can I do to fix this? And it was just I couldn't do it. I didn't, and you know, there was no hard feelings. I spoke to him. I said, look, thanks for everything, but I'm on the way. But no, this place. I mean, I bought my first house here. You know, like, you know, my whole senior career, from the career I had, came from here. All stemmed from here. The grounding I got was here. You know, probably the best football, the best years of my career were here. You know, I went on to, the two of us went on to Aberdeen and done great as well. But I mean, I think consistency for the 2.5 years I was here, I got Young Player of the Year. I know you picked up a couple of the awards as well. So, you know, it was great. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I'm actually going to take a wee drive around now today and see who's living in my old house. See if that blind...
Don't do that.
See if that blind that it took me about 4 days trying to hang up is still there.
See if that bleeding heater is still working. Or working by now. When I first came, remember I told you, first time he stuck me in a room with no heater. I was bleeding frozen by the time I had to go to train. I was like an ice cube.
Yeah, he was the first blue-black man I ever seen. That following morning he was on the land. I think he ended up sleeping on the land.
I think I went down, yeah. I left the room, I think,
I didn't even know the rad was off for sure. But Hunty's like that. Hunty has a house like a furnace. You come out of Hunty's house like and your eyeballs are dried up. But I used to knock the heat off. I like to be nice and cosy under the quilt, you know. But big man was freezing. He wasn't able for it at all. But yeah, like them memories, and you know, like I never really knew him till he came here, you know, and like now the classmates one of my best friends, you know, Hunty as well. Like I was really good pals with Hunty when we were at home, but him coming here, you know, brought us together. So I mean, the stuff like that, and the likes of, we were talking to Sandy there. I haven't seen Sandy in 14 years, and it was like I was training with him yesterday. Do you know what I mean? His wife jumped on me there. You know, I haven't seen her. They were at my wedding 11 years ago. You know, I haven't seen them, and it's just like we haven't, like we were down having a meal last night. You know, Mo is the same. He hasn't changed a bit. Do you know, so like all that, I can't buy that. Like that's just. It's great, and Mo's saying the exact same as you. Make sure you get over now, but I think we've got a WhatsApp group going now with all the old lads in, and I think Bully and a few of the boys that are involved with clubs are going to try and organise a weekend in the summer where we all get together for a Yahoo, a few quiet drinks.
That would be good.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, definitely. I'll be back. I'll come back next season, and hopefully, well, maybe if he's get to the playoffs or something, we might come back and take in a couple of games, because it is only that's a handy flight over, you know. And plus, I get to see all the friends that we have here as well, you know.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, and it's been great seeing you 2 years again.
Yeah, great. No problem.